Hello friends, today I am going to share you the shortcut trick to remember the parts of Indian Constitution. There are total 22 parts in Indian Constitution. So it is a bit difficult to remember these 22 parts. So I have come up with a shortcut to remember these 22 parts of Indian Constitution. So here we go. So in this I will tell you how to remember the first 11 parts of Indian Constitution. You can see the letters U, C, F, D, F, U, S, U, P, M, S, R. So U represents Union. It is the Union and its territories. It is the first part of Indian Constitution. C is citizenship. It is the second part of Indian Constitution. F represents the fundamental rights. It is the third part. D is directive principles. It is the fourth part. And there is an exception in the fourth part, that is F. It is fundamental duties. It is 4A part of Indian Constitution. And U represents the fifth part. U represents the fifth part of Indian Constitution. S represents the states. It is the sixth part. And there is one more exception, that is the seventh part. It has been given from the part B of the first schedule. And U represents the union territories. It is the eighth part. P for panchayats. It is ninth part of Indian Constitution. M for municipalities. It is again the exception, that is 9A part of Indian Constitution. And S represents the scheduled and tribal areas. It is the 10th part of Indian Constitution. And R represents the relation between union and states. It is the 11th part of Indian Constitution. So how to remember these 11 parts easily? So I have come up with an easy sentence so that you can remember easily all these 11 parts. And the sentence is: you can do a fixed deposit from US using premature withdrawal on special rates. In this sentence, you just concentrate on the letters in blue color. That is, U represents union. It is the first part. C is citizenship. It is the second part. F is fundamental rights. It is the third part. D is directive principles. It is the fourth part. And F again represents the fundamental duties. It is 4A. U represents the union. It is the fifth part. S represents the states. It is the sixth part. And U represents the union territories. It is the eighth part, since seventh part is derived from the part B of first schedule. P represents the panchayats. It is the ninth part. M represents the municipalities. It is 9A part of Indian Constitution. And S represents the scheduled and tribal areas. It is the 10th part. And R represents the relation between union and states. It is the 11th part of Indian Constitution. So in this way you can easily remember all these 11 parts. You can do fixed deposit from US using premature withdrawal on special rates. So in this I will be sharing you the shortcut trick to remember the parts from 12 to part 17. So it is F, T, S, T, E, S, O. So F represents the finance, property, contracts and suits. It is the 12th property of Indian Constitution. T represents the trade and commerce. It is the 13th part of Indian Constitution. S represents the services under union and states. It is the 14th part. And there is an exception in the 14th part, that is 14A. It is tribunals. So E represents elections. It is 15th part. S represents the special provisions. It is the 16th part. And O represents the official language. It is the 17th part of Indian Constitution. So again I have come up with an easy sentence so that you can remember all these parts easily. And the sentence is: Flipkart has Tata Sky setup box on exchange and special offer. Here also you concentrate the letters on in blue color. F represents the finance and property. It is the part 12. T represents the trade and commerce. it is the part 13. S represents the services, part 14. T represents the tribunals, it is part 14A. And E represents elections, it is part 15. And again S represents the special provisions, it is part 16. And O represents the official language, it is part 17. Flipkart has Tata Sky set-top box on exchange and special offer. Here I will be discussing about the remaining parts of Indian Constitution, that is from part 18 to part 22. So E, M, A, T, S. So E represents emergency provision. It is the part 18 of Indian Constitution. And M represents miscellaneous. It is part 19. A represents amendment of Indian Constitution. It is part 20 of Indian Constitution. So T represents the temporary, transitional and special provisions. It is the part 21 of Indian Constitution. And S represents the short title. It is the part 22. So to remember these parts, that is from part 18 to part 22, I have again come up with an easy sentence so that you can remember these parts easily. I hope most of the people eat Maggi and they like Maggi. So I have come up a sentence with Maggi. And the sentence is, eat Maggi as a tasty snack. Here also we just concentrate on the letters in blue color. E represents emergency provisions, it is part 18. M in the Maggi represents miscellaneous services, it is part 19. A represents the amendment of Indian Constitution, part 20. And T represents the temporary, transitional and special provisions, part 21. And S represents the short title, it is part 22. So in this way you can remember these parts easily. Eat Maggi as a tasty snack. So friends, please do share your comments and suggestions below, and please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you.